Welcome into this episode of We Talk Health. I'm Keith Shirley, and I'm glad you've decided to join us today. Here with me, we have Lane and Debbie, and they are with the Mobility Clinic. Now, it has a much longer, more professional, big word name, but we're going to call it the Mobility Clinic. How are y'all doing?
Doing well.
Doing great. Thank you.
Yep.
Great to have you here.
Thanks for having us.
I understand a little bit about the work that you do, but who wants to start? Actually, Debbie, I'm going to ask you to start.
Okay.
You're the physical therapist, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. So what particular area of physical therapy do you specialize in?
Well, actually, I specialize in the area of pediatrics. That is my passion, pediatrics, and also older adults. So those are my two.
Pediatrics and geriatrics, then.
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely. So in those areas, you see a lot of need for patients that need custom equipment, custom mobility equipment, whether that be custom wheelchairs, manual wheelchairs, power wheelchairs, custom gait trainers, custom walkers, adaptive equipment, sleep safe beds, all types of equipment like that. And I have really become quite passionate over the years about making sure that all of those patients, pediatrics and my older adult patients, have that exact thing that they need to make their lives and the quality of their lives the best that they can be.
And Lane, I think your job is to help locate, identify, once that equipment's been identified or the need has been identified, you help locate that technology. Is that right?
That's correct. And so, really my job, when it comes to the evaluations for this type of equipment, is to give suggestions on what could be good for the individual or, really sort of facilitate kind of what we need to do. And so really it's like it's a huge sort of team effort around the clinic where we got the PT, the ATP, we have an OT, speech therapist, that sort of thing. So it's a big team.
OT, occupational therapist?
Correct.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir. And so really you're getting it's like a one-stop shop for all the needs that a person may have that comes in there.
Mm-hmm.
And so, part of it, like you said, is identifying the need and then really trying to find the best of equipment that's going to help that need and get the individual that's going to have the most success with that equipment.
Assistive technology. Can I call that what?
Absolutely.
Okay. So the technology, the equipment, whatever that is to assist you in becoming more mobile, becoming more functional.
More independent.
Yes, okay.
And safe.
Okay. And when I think of that, I think of, okay, we got a cane, a walker, and a wheelchair.
Right.
Climb on board whichever one. But within those, say, 30,000 feet view,
right,
there's a lot of specialty
Absolutely.
that you can help people.
Oh.
And I always tell people this. I say, people always think as a mobility device, whether that, especially a power chair or a manual chair, that's all we think of it is just a mobility device. But it can also have therapeutic qualities as well. When it comes to, especially on a power chair, the seating that it has, the seat functions that it has, it's all custom for that individual. So when it comes to
seating, tell me.
Seating is so broad, but I'll give you the
that wasn't a joke either. He wasn't. He wasn't making a large seating joke.
Right. Not that we can't accommodate for it. We can just about do anything. But when it comes to the seating part of it, there's thousands of seat cushions you can choose from, backrest, headrest, what type of arm pads need to be on the chair. Does the individual need support for their feet? You know, if somebody has pressure injuries and have had them for a while, maybe we need to do a ROHO. Maybe we need to do some sort of offloading type cushion, or
Okay, let's go back to the pressure.
Yes.
Okay, is that like bed sore kind
Correct.
of thing, seat sores where
Correct.
you've been and you haven't moved through that? Okay,
Correct.
And a ROHO
So that's a technology.
sounds like a coffee I would order.
Yeah.
Let me have a ROHO with a double shot.
There you go. ROHO has been the industry standard for a long time. The technology's been around forever. That is a shape-fitting air cushion, and so for the longest time that is the standard for pressure relief in a cushion. Some people use it as a bed overlay. They make them large enough for that. But the idea of a ROHO is immersion into the cushion. So you fill the cushion with air and you set the patient on that cushion. You let air out to where the patient is not sitting on top of a bunch of air and they're not bottoming out through it. They're sinking into the cushion, and it's got cells, and their shape envelops in that cushion.
Why is air important to say something like a memory foam?
Right. So there's the technology that's been out. There's actually what they call pressure mapping. And so that is a mat that you would put over a cushion, and then you set the individual on that, and it actually shows the pressure that the patient is actually getting. So you can look at if they're getting maximum pressure on one spot, that pressure map will show red, which means there's a lot of pressure in this area. And you go to pressure map any kind of foam compared to a ROHO, the ROHO is always going to pressure map better. Really, because you get more adjustability for pressure with the air cushion. So pressure mapping has really helped decide what cushion is best for that patient, especially if they've had, ulcers, pressure sores that they've been dealing with.
The air
for a
lets
while.
you adjust the pressure. The memory foam wouldn't. You're just going to sit on where it is. The air you can put more in and put more there. Now let me go to Debbie just a moment and ask you. So as I think about how someone might have a red zone, they might have some of that would be due to posture.
Exactly.
And the way they're sitting in the chair.
And that's where the PT comes in, and also our OT, our occupational therapist. They're also excellent at positioning. So, and also when you think of a pediatric patient, because it's so important with their growth, and they change so quickly. I mean, sometime in a week, they've changed. Their growth has just, escalated. So it's vital that they are in the proper seating system and on the proper seating cushion at all times, and the backrest is correct. And that's where Lane comes in, and he's just so important to this clinic, because if their growth, as they grow, if they're not seated just properly and on the right seat, then they could develop a scoliosis. They could possibly dislocate a hip. Their pelvic height could possibly change. And that could throw off their gait pattern if we're working on some walking and trying to become an independent walker or a functional walker or a functional transfer. So there's so many things that go into play here. And that's why this custom mobility clinic is so imperative. And it's so fantastic that we have this now in our area for our patients in this part of Tennessee and West Tennessee. And so it's just vital that parents and families know about this and make sure that their kiddos and adults as well, because adults can still also, we're always changing too, especially after we have some type of disease pathology or an accident, or anything. If we're not seated properly, we could possibly dislocate a hip or develop a scoliosis or something like that. So it's very important to be positioned properly.
When you're evaluating, and I have personal experience, I've had Achilles tendon issues at times and also broke my leg in multiple places. So I've spent time in a boot. That boot, if you don't accommodate for the other side, then it throws, next thing you know, you've got hip problems because your gait was thrown off because of, so I have some personal experience with that. Do you have patients, Debbie, that may have some mobility challenges, but can they also do physical therapy? Can they do core strengthening so that they sit better in this, so
Absolutely.
that they can do bending or stretching, that you create mobility? Is that part of it?
Absolutely. Absolutely. We are always doing physical therapy with these patients. And the Mobility Clinic, what we are providing, these custom mobility pieces of equipment, they're just an adjunct to their therapy and to their functional independence and safety that we're working on as their ultimate goal. And our ultimate goal for all of our patients is for them to be as independent and functional and safe as possible in their lifetime. And that is what we're there for at the end of the day.
Lane and Debbie are here with us today on We Talk Health, and we're talking about the Mobility Clinic. And let me just go ahead and ask either of you who wants to, for our audience, if they have questions, can they call direct, or is there someplace they can get information?
Mm-hmm. They can call direct to, this is at West Tennessee Healthcare, Henry County Hospital, 731-262, the number 6114.
Okay. And we'll give her a chance to think about that, and we'll bring it back up again.
It's 262-6114. Yes, that is correct.
I saw the sparkle of assurance in her eyes.
Yeah, she
knows that.
Yes, we just changed phone numbers.
So dealing with mobility issues, after the patient who does the patient start with, Debbie or Lane?
So usually
or the client, whatever we call them.
Sure. Usually how this typically goes is, I wouldn't say typically. It's kind of 50-50.
It is.
So it's like a lot of times Debbie will have somebody that's been referred to her clinic, whether that be, a kiddo or an adult.
Or a current patient that I have that needs a new chair or is ready for something else.
And so, she's does a great job of identifying that need if somebody needs something. Sometimes the client gets sent to us from their doctor. The doctor sends a referral over to the clinic, and then that's where we, we'll meet, talk with the patient, evaluate, that sort of thing. The referral can come from different places. Sometimes they'll call me and say, "Hey, I live here," and I'm like, "Well, you need to go here, and we'll talk about what you need."
So if a referral, the physician refers to you,
mm-hmm.
and you, Lane, and you evaluate the patient's mobility needs, do you ever refer to Debbie and say, "Hey, look, this patient is red in this area or doing in this area," or they might do that? Can you, or do you have to go back to the doctor and ask for the referral?
No, I can, if a lot of time we're evaluating together. I mean, I never go see somebody without her. If it's a referral that we're both dealing with,
mm-hmm.
Cause I want to be there. I want her to be there. So that way, we connect ideas and we work together. It's that, ATP, Assistive Technology Professional, the physical therapist, the patient, the family, we're all there in one room. So we're all wrapping our head around, our ideas, how it's all going to come together. That way everybody's on the same page. Communication happens right there when all of us are there in the evaluation room. Cause that's, if I'm over here doing, seeing this guy and I just call Debbie and say, hey, this guy needs this. Well, she don't know because she didn't see him. It all happens right there together because communication needs to be fluent throughout everybody right there. And the plan needs to be in place with everybody there. So it's very paramount that we're all there talking about the same thing and why we're doing this. Why are you doing this cushion? Why are you doing this back? Why this chair? All those questions can be answered right there with everybody that's involved in the process.
Do you think it would surprise the We Talk Health audience to learn that what the two of you do is unique, is specialized, is
100%.
not offered?
That's exactly a point. I'm so grateful that you said that because that's a point we really wanted to make today.
100%.
And because we've been doing this since, like we said, March of 25 is when we started. And
Correct.
West Tennessee Healthcare very much supported us beginning this clinic 14 months ago. And because we were seeing patients previously that had a stroke and needed a wheelchair, and they would go to the attic and pull out grandma's old, sling back wheelchair and had been using it for 10 years. And the whole time they really needed a custom manual wheelchair, something that really fit their needs. And they deserved that. And so there are people out there that needed a custom chair. So, but they didn't know they couldn't go someplace else and they didn't know where to go.
Right.
And so we really are so grateful to be here today to get the word out that we are here to see those patients and to see anybody that needs any custom type chair or custom type walker or any adaptive equipment for parents that need equipment for their children, to help their mobility, to help them progress in their growth and maturation. But to see patients that receive custom power, custom manual chairs, and then they can do things independently. They can do things more on their own. They can be at home during the day some. They don't have to go to assisted living. They can just become more independent again and find more of themselves again that they had prior to maybe a disease or a stroke or something, an accident or something like that. But we really want to get the word out that we are available here to treat the patients of West Tennessee. And we're just so grateful that we are able to do this clinic. And
it's amazing when you see, and like, especially me on the delivery side, after it's all said and done, we get that approval. We order the chair, it comes in, I deliver it. And I just had this happen last week. It's amazing because when I brought it in, the patient said to me, she said, I had no idea this stuff even existed. Mm-hmm. I'm here she is, and he's in just a basic power chair. And then I bring this one in and I show her, the cushion that I measured for her, the back, what the chair, her new power chair actually does when it comes to the functions, the seat elevator, the elevating leg rest, the recline, the tilt, all that. And she was just shocked that she's been in her other power chair for so long, and she just thought that was it. Had no idea that this was out there. And I was talking to Debbie before we came in. That's one of our biggest challenges to this whole thing is it's always an education thing. That was our challenge yesterday. That'll be our challenge 10 years from now. 'Cause it's our job, not necessarily the patient's job, but it's our job to, educate people on what's out there and not just be like, this is good enough. there's better. And we're trying to bring that better and, really, help people in that sort of way, because otherwise they wouldn't know.
I hear the passion in both of you that are talking about this. And as I think about this, and when I listen to you describe the equipment that's available, so many things come to mind. First, the patient or the client, I think, would start to feel seen, validated.
Sure.
They do.
And feel like that they have now the opportunity to contribute something back. I can see how in instances where it's a stroke or an accident or whatever, it's like, because you now don't fit into traditional society, your mobility is challenged, you have nothing to contribute. Don't tell Stephen Hawking that, don't tell people that have come to that point that they don't have something to contribute. And I would think that your clients, begin to feel more welcome, more appreciated, and more recognized. And what a great thing that you could do for a family member, or if you're a caregiver, then to bring that person validation.
We had a lady once that she received a power chair. She went from manual to power, and she was able to go from her basement around her house to the front of her house by herself. No one had to help her. And she was the happiest person ever. It made her so happy to do, and then go back down to the basement by herself during the day while her family was not there. So she wasn't just stuck in one room all day long. And she was the happiest person ever. And to be independent in some way. Mm-hmm. No, she couldn't walk anymore. She'd had several strokes. And she was so thankful. And she thanked us over and over and over again. And but
her mind still worked, and
absolutely,
she still loved her family,
yes.
She still had a desire to contribute and to live life.
And she was taking her dogs outside, and she was going to get the mail, and she was enjoying outside when the weather was nice. And it's just amazing what you're able to give patients back when you give them some form of independence. And with all the amazing things that Lang knows and the amazing features that you can put on power chairs now, the independence that you can give patients to be able to get their cup in the morning and then get their own coffee and go out on the back porch. And it's just so great, and to see patients become happy again and give back a little bit of themselves that they had before. And even with pediatrics, which again is one of my passions, to see children go from one wheelchair to the next wheelchair and then to a walker, and then being able to transfer from that walker in and out of that wheelchair to a walker, and then to crutches. And those are things also that we have in our mobility clinic. So it's amazingly satisfying, and it's just the most wonderful, I think it's the most wonderful job in the world.
It's great.
And Lane, before your clinic, before the two of you started it and started working on this was not available in rural West Tennessee.
There's not an established seating and mobility clinic, assistive technology clinic in rural West Tennessee. I guess the only other seating clinic that I know of, there's one in Nashville. Vanderbilt Hospital does one, and then the state of Tennessee actually has one in Arlington, just north of Memphis, which we work with closely with them as well. But as far as a brick and mortar place where people can go for this type of stuff, rural West Tennessee does not have one until now, of course.
Do your clients have to have permanent mobility issues, or can they be temporary?
A lot of times, it's a good question. A lot of times, they are, permanent, for the most part. Now, talking about the demographics of clients that we see, and a lot of it's progressive neurological diagnoses. We see a lot of ALS, Parkinson's, MS, CP, and then muscular dystrophy, and we do get quite a few amputees as well. So when it comes to the equipment, and these progressive diseases, a person that had ALS last year is going to progress and maybe need more. So that power chair that I did for them, let's say last year, now they need more. That chair can adapt to the progression. So say, okay, they had hand function, that ALS client did. They had hand function when I first brought them their chair. Now that is gone. They can't operate through the joystick. Then we need to look at alternative ways to drive that chair, whether that be through, a chin control, of a foot control where they can drive with their foot, or they can drive with their eyes through the eye gaze. They just, look around and look at the screen and they drive the chair wherever they want to go, which is an incredible thing to see. The technology is insane. And, but people are going to be like, are you kidding me? You can drive the chair with your eyes. 100% you can. Mm-hmm. And it's an amazing thing to see. And then when it comes to peds, like Debbie was saying, they grow so much. And, that chair that we got for him, even 6 months ago, they done outgrew it,
And he has to bring a whole new cushion for a chair that he just did because their legs have already grown past the leg.
Mm-hmm. So to answer your question, it's, a lot of times, their mobility issues are the folks that we deal with are permanent for the most part. And then, we just accommodate it the best we can with the equipment that we do.
Many of these, and thank you both for being here. Absolutely. And for what you're doing and for the idea for this clinic. Many of these clients are already dealing with struggles that we can't even imagine.
100%.
And everything about their life has been turned upside down.
Absolutely.
Whatever their dreams were before this diagnosis, they're now totally different. They're not there.
Right.
But that doesn't mean that they've lost value, that they don't want to contribute, that they can't, that they don't want to feel seen, and that they don't want, doesn't mean that. And this gives them hope to do that. I think this gives family hope as well.
It does.
No.
It does. And
I love the stories that you have of your individual clients.
Yeah.
Right. Nobody wants to have to come to our clinic. I mean, they don't want to have to come get a wheelchair or have to get some custom something to take, they don't want all that. But that again is why we do this, because we want to make it as easy as possible for patients that need this, because we can't imagine how hard this is. And it is challenging, and it is challenging to travel. And that's another reason we decided to do a clinic. So we are very grateful for West Tennessee Healthcare helping us and backing us. And we just hope more people learn about this and use this service. And we are there for a long time. And thank you for having us.
Absolutely. Lane, again, people want to follow up and get more information. How do they do that?
Yeah. You could call Debbie at the Henry County Hospital, and you can always call me as well. Cause, referrals come across to me too. And I send them to her any way I can. You can always email me. My email is lduncan, LDUNCAN @docsupply.com, DOCSUPPLY.com. And I'd if this is something that you need, and I can certainly help you, get into the clinic, get you scheduled, and get that need that you're looking for, because it's certainly something that we're proud of, and we're very passionate about it.
Well, thank you for dropping by here at We Talk Health, and appreciate what you're doing.
Absolutely.
Appreciate you taking the time to be here, and we're going to follow along and learn about how you grow, because I know that this will grow and expand, because unfortunately the need is not going away. It's not going away.
Correct.
And so fulfilling those, helping people that have had this experience fulfill some dreams,
Right,
is a great calling. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much
Thank
for
you
having
so
us.
much.
We appreciate
Thank
you.
you.